Welcome back to the Speak Pact podcast. We are happy that you're here with us today. I am Antoniette Rose, your host, and today I'm joined by Shantel Thomas. She is an author, a tech expert, a marketing expert, and an inclusion expert. And she's taken her passions for these different areas, especially in the area of inclusion, and she's carved out a speaking career for herself. S- Hold on one second. It's producer. Can you turn off the other one? I'm hearing myself talk back in the other computer.
Oh.
All right. So, Chantal, welcome to the live stage.
Yes, it's live. Thank you, Antoniette. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to dive into your journey. First of all, how did you go from having a passion to landing that very first stage? What were your steps?
Mm. I gotta say, a lot of times in my life, I have been pushed into my purpose. And this is no different. I spent, of course, the majority of my career in corporate, and it was doing one of those annual performance reviews. And I was doing a performance review with my leader, and she stopped and said, Chantel, I think you should be a conference speaker. I kid you not. And that is how I got pushed into being a speaker because I didn't see it for myself. But in that moment, she saw it in me. And by the following, I think that may have been in the fall of the year. And by the following spring, I just took the leap and did it. My first one was a in-person event, and I just started going on websites and looking for speaking opportunities, and identified this one website that had lots of them on there and applied. And totally, you know how they ask you to make your abstract, made my abstract and the three takeaways, and submitted it, and was shocked that they actually said, yes, welcome, we want you to be a part of it. And so that's literally how I went from just being a person contributing, individual contributor inside of my workplace, and having my leader actually push me into my purpose.
Fabulous. So, how did you know how to price your first talk?
I knew because I just started asking around. So when I say I did research, I just started asking around. And I should also note that I spent the early part of my career being an event marketing strategist. And hiring those speakers is something I did. And so I just kind of knew like where the space was for a beginner without name recognition, brand recognition. I had none. But where I could kind of position myself so that I could possibly get picked up, and I did.
Well, I love that you took a passion and you made a secondary career out of it. I know that are a marketing expert. You have been in tech in the past, which probably helped in all of these areas.
I'll say that. Hmm.
um, and some of the things I feel like are very unique about you that also play into your success and your current success and your future success as a speaker, a keynoter, a subject matter expert is your ability to speak on confidence, even as far as what you're wearing, right? We'll get into
Hmm.
that, as
Hmm.
well as brand awareness, of course. That's a huge one for speakers. You have to have a very clear brand because you have to be a sure bet
Yes.
in the eyes of an organizer. And if that decision maker believes that you are kind of a jack of all trades, that's not very
Hmm.
comforting to them, right? They need the expert on the stage. Often their jobs rely on it.
Yes.
Um, You're also really good at connecting, activating, and communicating. So, connecting people, activating them to action, and then
Mhm.
helping them develop their communication skills. So, let's talk a little bit about what of those have helped you most in
Mhm.
speaking thus far, and what do you feel like the average speaker should really kind of hone in on to grow and scale as a speaker, keynoter, subject matter expert?
I'll say that primarily, I know in speaking, a lot of times we like to have a signature talk. I have stared away from having a signature talk only because I'm saving that for one day when I get on the TED stage. So someday I'm going to get, work on a signature talk. But the reason why I do that is because of my years of experience in marketing. We always want something that is fit and unique for us. And I think of that the same way as I go forward as a vendor, essentially, and try to get the business of that event planner or that company. Like I want to give them something that fits what it is that they want. And so my marketing and communication skills, really land here because I have an approach that once I have a discovery call with you to kind of understand what it is that you're trying to do and who the audience is, then I come back to the drawing board and I literally write out three options. So, what is it that I think that you want, but giving you three different topics or ways in which I can reach your audience? Because connection is very important in communication. Communication is two-way. And so I believe very deeply in being able to fit what it is that I do inside of the brand that is hiring me or the organization that's hiring me. I don't want to come to talk to a dog conference and talk about cats. It's kind of the same. It's the same thing. So I think for me, communication lies very deeply in understanding your audience and then understanding what it is that the people who hire you are trying to convey. That's going to land with that audience. And I like the idea of giving you three options because I love everything in threes and I love alliteration. And I kid you not, every time I have an opportunity to throw in something in threes or alliteration, I do it. So I give normally three options, and you can choose, like what is it that you want me to deliver, and then I come back and I develop myself, get ready, develop the talking points, develop the slide if that's relative, in order to deliver that particular talk for that particular audience.
Well, you really touched on something that I think we overlook a lot, and that is how the brain comprehends, right? How we
Yes. Hmm.
how we receive information and how we retain it.
That's right.
So there's something huge to be said about how you make your audience feel. Do they feel heard? Do they feel
Hmm.
seen? I know this is your these I'm borrowing your lines. How they feel seen, how they feel heard, how they feel valued.
Hmm.
If you have done your research and you understand who you're speaking with and they feel like maybe you got into their diary, they know you cared enough to do your homework there. So huge, that's huge. You need
Yes.
that. But then
Mhm.
also the iterations of
Mhm.
threes or we
Mhm.
retain
That's right.
in patterns. That's
Yes.
just how our brain
Mhm.
can hold on to information. So
Mhm.
by practicing that as a speaker, oftentimes you can get right off the stage and ask, so what were your key takeaways? Somebody might grab a thing or two, but a lot of times they just know you made them feel good. They can't
Mhm.
really recite back some of the things that they actually gleaned so that they can go and put it in practice. But if you are an action oriented speaker, you really want transformation,
Mhm.
grasping on to the power of patterns
That's exactly
is
right.
actually very, very powerful because
Mhm.
that's tangible. They can remember the the difference you made in their own journey and
Mhm.
actually put it into practice. So I
That's
love
right.
that you bring that in. that into
Mhm.
that.
Yep,
Probably
our
came from
brains
your
are
tech
wired.
background because it's all about that.
Yep, our brains are wired like that. We do remember in threes. So yeah.
And then the
Okay.
area of confidence.
Mhm.
So when you talk about being a confident woman who's maybe not the same color as everybody, or maybe you're a woman speaking to a room full of men, none of that should really matter, right? It's your experience, what you bring to the
Mhm.
table. Um, that's really your value
Mhm.
to that room. So I know that you go as far as how you dress.
Yes.
Dress in a way that's gonna relate to that particular room of people. What are some of the other tell I would like to dive into that a little bit, but then also what are some of the other ways that it doesn't matter if you're, a tall white man in a three-piece suit or a short brown or browner
Mhm.
woman in a dress, right? Whatever. It's all about the value that you
Mhm.
bring to let's talk about that a little bit, the confidence of
Yeah,
knowing.
I
Mhm.
think we are naturally, as humans, we are all the time making judgments, and it's the quick judgment that it comes from, our Neanderthal history. We are making quick judgments all the time, and about who we are and what we represent. It's kind of like when you're in the hospital, if you see somebody walk by and they're in a white coat, you automatically think, oh, that's the doctor, I can trust what they say.
Mm,
It's kind of the same thing. So our what we're wearing also says something before we actually open our mouths. And I like leveraging the idea of I know what I'm talking about, I'm an expert, and I start first by what it is that I'm wearing. So I just so happen to love clothes. My mom says I always have. I have been directing her since I've been two about what it is I want to wear and how I want it to look. So I really get into the idea of what you wear is saying something too. It's saying something to others, but for myself, it's making me feel more confident. So it's the difference between me running out in a pair of sneakers and a jogging suit versus I feel a little taller when I have my heels on. I feel a little stronger when I have something buttoned up or something feeling crisp, and that's all of us. So your clothes have an opportunity when you walk out on the stage to tell a bit of your story that's going to then come from what it is that you say once you get out there and convince them that convince the people who hired you that they hired the right person to bring the message, but then also make some type of impact on those that are listening. And I think you use one of my favorite words already is connecting. I'm so big on connecting. I pay attention to my audience. I am looking to see if they're wrapped in what I'm saying, or if they're looking at their phones. It's like I've already lost them. So I need to bring them back. And so as I think about what it is that I share with people on stage, I am constantly looking for ways that in what I'm delivering, that I'm doing it in an engaging fashion, but then also to allow them to engage with me. If it's something as simple as, here's this QR code up here, scan it, let's answer this question, right? It might be that simple, or it might be, like, who was the first person you saw when you walked in? Do that you actually remember? So, like, it's tactics in order to ensure that your audience stays engaged. Because if I've been hired, to some degree, I'm going to be delivering content that's relevant. So we've already checked that box
yeah.
before I walk on stage. But then the engagement is me that I am doing, live right there.
This is I think a really important point. How often as a speaker do we actually ask how the room is likely to be dressed? right? Are they all going to be in business suits? Are
Mhm.
they all, is it a conference at a beach? They're all going to be in their sandals and shorts.
Yes.
If so, you don't really want to walk out there with an evening gown. My rule of thumb is you ask the organizer how the room is likely going to be dressed,
Mhm.
and you dress one step above, not five steps above, definitely not below, right? If they say business casual, you do business a step above.
Yes.
If they say they're going to be in evening gowns because it's a senior senior level management dinner that you'll be
Mhm.
speaking at, wear an evening gown, right?
Yeah.
So what are your insights on that?
I agree with you wholly. I've never netted it to be one step above, but you're exactly right. I that part as well as I love solid colors. I want a solid color today. I
Hmm.
love I love solid colors because I almost feel like I am not detracting you because if I have on flowers or something like that, that could be for myself like if I see someone in like a pattern, I don't know why, but my mind will begin to wonder because the patterns do something to me. And so because of my own inability to focus in situations like that, I almost always will wear a solid color because I think that now and I do another thing is I try to um, wear one color if I can.
Mm,
So not always, but I try because it's that thing that the eye is doing
mhm.
to just help the focus. And so if in fact I can and it's possible, like I'll try to wear look monochromatic essentially.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, you are so right. The eye is directly connected to the brain. And if you're coming out all flamboyant, unless that's part of the brand or part of the event, you
Mm-mm.
are they can't hear you.
Mm-hmm.
They can't hear you past all of the patterns on your clothes or your great big gaudy earrings
Yeah.
or, something else that's really flashy. If that's your goal, that's one thing, and I think the setting is a big deal as well.
I
What
agree.
kind of conference is it? Or are you going into a corporation? You're gonna be speaking to
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of professional people, and you come in all kind of flamboyant and trying to, self-expressive. Self-expression is important, but it can also be a trigger
Mm-hmm.
that is telling the audience, I am more important, how I express myself is more important than than my message.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you basically communicate that without communicating it. As you walk in, we just had the whole thing, in the Oval Office. Everybody's in three-piece suits, and another president from another country is in. He looks like he's going to go jogging, and I know there was, reasons for all that, but it
Mm-hmm.
felt inappropriate and a little bit distracting and doesn't don't want to get into politics at all, but it was misplaced and it did take your mind. It did, when you're thinking on something, you're missing what's actually happening in the moment. Very, very important for
Mm-hmm.
speakers. Yes, self-expression,
Mm-hmm.
but how far should you take that? And are you going to be wearing earpiece microphone that comes like that? If that's the case, if you have
Yeah.
dangly earrings, all you're going to hear the whole time you're talking and moving around is that earring, you know, clicking around.
Yeah.
If you have loud shoes and it's a solid stage and you're walking back and forth, that can be distracting. These are
Mm-hmm.
subtle but really, really important reasons to think about what you're going to wear
Exactly.
beyond expressing yourself and looking fabulous, but also appropriateness, distraction. What is this going to add to or distract from that audience being able to receive what I came here for? And that was to create transformation and to
You
give them
said
my
it.
message.
You said it. I also like one other thought around being different. It all being different also has another effect, and I can't remember the researcher that has this idea called the red shoe theory. But the red shoe theory is When you expect everybody else to be in, a beach outfit, and you walk in a full suit with high heels, it actually has the effect um, of you doing the power play. So sometimes, because what happens is the people will remember the difference maker. And so it's called the red shoe theory, and I'm reading up on it a little bit now. So I invite your audience to read up a little bit on it.
Yeah.
It's the red shoe theory. And I can't remember the researcher, so I can't even attribute it appropriately. But it also has like it's almost like a dual effect. So like looking like the audience, and then also using it to stand out when you're not looking like the audience.
Right. So
So yeah,
there's that fine line,
it's
right? You
it's
want
a
to be a
fine
step
line.
above so
Mhm.
that because you are the person in authority at that
Yeah.
time at least. So
Mhm.
you need to look like you are somebody who they can I think that the mental trigger is I'm here and I'm
Mhm.
in front of this speaker so I can get to the next level of where I want to be.
Yes.
Well, if you look like you're in that next level, then you're the person, right? But if you're so far removed
Mhm.
from where I am, I lose the belief that you're really going to have much that's going to be of value because you're at that point I can't there has to be relatability as
Mhm.
well. Yeah.
I agree. I agree because we're trying to connect. That's it.
Your point about
Mhm.
monochrono like one solid clothing, especially for smaller women like you and me,
Mhm.
I think it gives the illusion of being taller
Mm, that's
and
right. You let the cat out the bag. Oh my goodness. That's it. That's exactly true. That we actually extend ourselves by, like if we are in a single color, or as much as our my I should say this, my mom is a seamstress, and so as much as she was bothered probably by the fact that I was telling her at 2, 3, 4, 5 like how I want my clothes done, she actually leaned into it greatly, because like there are things that we can all do, because I am short. I don't wear pants that are bell bottomed kind of pants. I don't wear them because they actually make me look shorter. So to
yes.
bring myself up off the ground a little bit more, almost, I have a tailor that tailors almost all of my pants to make myself look
Great
taller.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
and in the reverse, if you are abnormally tall,
Hmm.
then wear those bell bottoms. Just bring
Yeah.
yourself to a relatable level,
Hmm.
just a step or 2 above
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, I think
Love,
it's
love,
all kind
love.
of tricks that we can all do. Yeah.
And then it goes back to your brand. It
Hmm.
speaks to your professionalism, your brand. You have respect for the room. You've done your homework. It's
Hmm.
it's almost like a symphony of these little cues that we're
Hmm.
giving that audience when we
I
step
love
onto
that,
that
Antoniette.
stage.
I love it. Okay, symphony. You were saying all the words. Yes, yes. I'm with that one. Yes.
Where do you draw the line between self-expression and dressing professionally? Because we all wanna we wanna stand
Hmm.
out a little bit. So where
Yeah.
do you draw that line?
I don't call it necessarily drawing a line. I'll call it, what do I lean into to express myself? And almost all of my friends will probably likely tell you that the thing that I wear all the time is jewelry. So
Mhm.
I try to have some unique piece of jewelry on, and that is me expressing myself. So I might have on a suit or dress like everyone else in the room, but like I could likely have on a beautiful statement ring or something like that. So it's less of it's more of honoring the place that I am. But then the thing that I love is I love jewelry. I love it. Costume jewelry. I haven't graduated yet to, diamonds and pearls and stuff.
That's
But yeah,
coming. That's
I
coming.
haven't graduated yet to that. But I do love costume jewelry. And people who know me and see me a lot almost always comment on that. And so the fact that it is a signature part of my brand, I know people are picking up on it because people often say that about me. And that's an indication of your brand, is that people are saying back to you what they believe about you. And so often people say back to me all the time, about what it is that I have on, or what jewelry piece, that I might have on. So that part that I'm doing, to distinguish myself and to align with my brand, I know it works because people will say it back to me.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. If your brand is that you are you're shock and awe, like, if they know
Mhm.
that walking in there, and I think that works better on a stage
Mhm.
versus in, like, a conference room. Um, you have more room, I think, 'cause on stages, it's more of edutainment. You can't go real deep. There's a lot of other things going on. There's probably vendors, the next speaker's coming up, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. When you're in a conference room, and if you come in with, a bunch of gaudy jewelry, I think you're becoming distracting versus accentuating. Um,
Mm.
Whereas when you have that big stage and there's a big audience, there's a lot going on, you can get a little bit more fun that way.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's a consideration that's very important. So
Yeah.
we're talking mainly in the area of women, but I've seen it for men too.
Mhm.
One of our speakers along the way was all about purple. And everybody knew it. And he was all about purple. And he would have these nice, shiny kind of purple jackets and purple,
Mhm.
uh, you know, pants, purple
Mhm.
shoes, and it was distracting. But you knew he was a well known enough speaker. You knew that going in. Another one is Eric Qualman. He wasn't one of
Mhm.
my speakers, but we're associated, and he always wears lime green glasses to the point where everybody in the audience gets a pair of lime green
I love
glasses
that.
because
I
it's
love
part of
that.
his brand. There was another speaker who he always wears a very slick fedora hat. It's just part of his
Mhm.
brand. So if you've really built that in,
Mhm.
and it communicates with your audience and it's something they expect. If Eric doesn't come onto the stage without his lime green glasses, people are going to say, "What happened? Did you lose your glasses?" Right? It's expected. That's really different
Mhm.
than, um, coming in with
Mhm.
a very flowery patterned outfit, maybe, and trying to get your message across, trying to be taken seriously
Mhm.
as an authority. There, consider it. Every
Mhm.
speaker needs to take what they wear, what their body language is saying, right? How they're
Mhm.
expressing themselves, um, how they're utilizing this tool called our voice.
Mhm.
All of those things put together equal how much you're going to be received, taken seriously, and how much of your message is going to be able to be received when you deliver it.
Yep. You just did it. You just did a TED talk.
Well,
Antonia,
there
you
was
did.
someone I came across.
I
I
think
can't
so. I
I can't
think
put my
so.
can't put my finger on who or where I heard this, but, um, it might have been in a panel discussion, and they actually had asked a woman to take her glasses off, or her earrings off, because it was virtual,
Mhm.
but the earrings were all that
Uh-huh.
you saw on the whole panel
They were,
of people.
oh, yeah. And like I think the point that you made about aligning to your own sense of this is what I want to do to express myself, versus the job that has to be done. I think they probably shouldn't conflict. And so it really comes down to that, because I lean into the idea of using our voice, but what we look like all of those things in order to draw our audience in. And based upon who our audience is and what they know about us, like those things are the things that help us shape how it is that we show up.
Mm,
But how I do not believe that how we show up can ever conflict with our job. Like what it is that I want to use this moment in time to convey. Because you said another word about transformation. Like
mhm,
we cannot miss the opportunity to share the thing that we're sharing for the benefit of the people that we are trying to serve. And I look at that very clearly as this is my audience. I want to serve them in this moment in time by sharing what it is that I know that is hopefully going to transform their lives.
boom, you said it so well. You're that's it in a nutshell. It's about them, not
Yes,
about us. If they're
yes,
showing up expecting those lime green glasses, then you're letting them down, right, by
yes.
not coming up with that. But if you're dressing to your brand as well as the brand of the room
Mm-hmm.
that you're speaking with, that has to be part of the consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So good, such goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I know at about this point in our talk together, there are Speak Pact people within the Speak Pact audience who would like to know how can they reach you? Where do they find you? Where are your favorite places to be found?
I I love to be found at my own website, which is my name. So hopefully it's a wonderful spelling that I always make fun of my mom and tell her she failed phonics. But here it is. It's just chantelthomas.com, but it's with an S. But my mom, like I said, totally failed phonics. And it should be with a C. And all three of my children have C names because I told you I love alliteration. And so they they all have C names and they all make fun and tell me that someday I should go and get my name changed, the spelling.
Uh,
But for
well, you got to
now,
stay that step above.
I
So
got
keep the S.
yes, I got to get rid of the S. That's what they keep telling me. I should be a C like them. But for now, I'm sticking with it, and it's chantelthomas.com. You can totally go there, or you can go to LinkedIn and type my name in. And I'm publishing a newsletter now on LinkedIn as well because I am. So when you started out, you talked about the fact that I talk about marketing, but I also talk about inclusion and culture, and that is because again about the audience that I'm serving. I just believe that there is so much opportunity inside the workplace to bring joy and happiness. And the data suggests that companies who do that actually gain more. And so I write a newsletter about that. It's called Total EX, and it's EX stands for employee experience, and that is my chosen profession after I have kind of turned the corner a little bit from marketing, and then as I also do this thing, speaking. I love this. I love this. I love it comes really down to one thing for me is I just like to connect. And I think of it as connecting with people in multiple mediums. I write, I mentor, I consult, and I speak.
Okay, I love it. So, Chantel, S-H, and I say it wrong, Shantel,
Yes, that's good.
Shantel, in case you're just listening. Of course, this will be in the show notes. And then Thomas,
Mhm,
Thomas.com. And Total EX, like experience
mhm.
newsletters. Let's talk a second about
Okay.
LinkedIn newsletters. We actually started one a month or so ago, and I am loving it. Talk about a platform for speakers not only to be heard and found, but their messages to continue to reverberate and get out there. Such a powerful tool. It's
It
free,
is.
right?
Mhm.
You don't even have to be on the paid version of LinkedIn.
No, no.
If you're
Mhm.
already out there, you're sending emails or you're doing posts, convert those we have AI now, right?
Yeah.
Convert your ideas into an article for LinkedIn, and it's one more layer of getting your message out there and another way for you to be found. So how long
Hmm.
is yours? When did you start yours?
I only started mine 3 weeks ago.
Oh, just
Um,
a
3 weeks.
baby.
I'm so new. I'm so new at it. But I like it. I like that it's very easy. LinkedIn makes it very easy, and I just go out and write whatever of the. There are 6 stages of the employee experience, and so like each week I pick a stage, of the employee experience, from recruiting, onboarding, all the way to developing, transitioning, etc. And each week, I just write something about it, because my call to action always, is that I just want it to be better for people because, we spend 40% of our lives working. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm just moved to, make that experience better in the ways that I have access to doing. And so everybody who works is on LinkedIn. And those of those who are looking for work are on LinkedIn. So all of that. And so I think that LinkedIn is a wonderful platform, to reach those around what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about a better employee experience for all of us. And so
Mm.
I'm excited. I was excited when I got to like 100 people on my subscription. I was like, 100 people want to know about my little newsletter. So yeah, yeah. So it's so new. I
Yes.
like it.
Okay. Keep doing that though. Your message
Yeah.
is important and it is a very fabulous layer, another
Hmm.
way of
Yeah.
being found by those looking for experts in your field
Yep.
and getting you more knocks on your door to come and speak, present, do a workshop, all
Hmm.
those things that speakers love to be
Hmm.
approached
Yeah.
about.
That's exactly it.
Tell me one more
Mhm.
thing. You know, my signature question at the
Go ahead.
close of each episode of Speak Pact, and that is what is if for maybe a high performing professional who wants to take their expertise and really start attracting more engagements, more speaking engagements, what would you say the first step would should be for them, or this next step should be
Hmm.
for them to attract not only more engagements but maybe even higher quality, higher paid engagements? Mhm.
I think you have to be real with yourself, and because when you stand on any stage, you're going to be sussed out when you are not being authentic.
Mhm.
And so I encourage you to really spend time thinking about, who you are and what you naturally convey in non-speaking, areas, right? Because, who we are in anything is who we are in everything. And so if you can just, isolate what is it that, you authentically bring to, the dinner party table. I'll say that. What is it that you always talk about and are, and what people think you are when you're at the dinner party? At the dinner party. Start there maybe. Start at the dinner party. Like, what is it that you, share, and what people think about you when you're at the dinner party? And now, can you bring that to the stage? And I say that because, it is, uh, it's just authentic, right? You have to be authentic in order to stand on the stage, because if you love dogs, but then you get hired to talk about cats, you're gonna be sussed out. So don't do that. So I would say, as a first step, really lean into what it is that is authentically you, so that you can find the spaces that embrace that and talk about it. I think, like, when I started out, I used to use the moniker of, grits, girl raised in the South.
Mm.
Um, because that's who I am. I'm a grits. I'm saying, like, I'm a girl raised in the South, and so I have a very folksy tone. People like me because of it. It sounds very welcoming, and so I it would not be authentic for me to get on the stage and affect a New York accent. I don't even think I could do it. But but think about it from that perspective. Like, lean into what is authentically you and what you commonly bring to the dinner party table, and then bring that to the stage.
Oh, that was a really, really good point. And I think that was something that hurt a recent US politician, love her or not love her. One thing that did hurt is when she was in a different crowd, she would try to have the accents or try to,
Mhm.
in her attempt to relate to the crowd, she would do that. And you're exactly right. That's
Yeah.
spotted from a mile away. It feels fake. It doesn't
Mhm.
feel real. And
Yeah.
we would have, just more enjoyed her being real,
Mhm.
herself.
Mhm.
So as speakers, if we go out there, let's say we're talking to a room full of grits,
Mhm.
girls raised in the South, and you were raised in LA,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to start trying a Southern drawl.
Exactly.
It's not going to
Exactly.
work.
Because they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna suss you out. They just really are.
So real, be authentic, be
Mhm.
yourself, but also be appropriate and respectful,
Mhm.
right? And then it's your message that shines. It's that transformation that you're bringing that shines. And you just glow as a human. I think we can hide ourselves,
Mhm.
right? You could, if you had too much going on, we don't get to see Shantel
Mhm.
Thomas. I
Yes.
knew I said it wrong.
It's okay.
Sean.
It's okay. We just blame my mom while we're here. It's okay.
Uh, you have to be able to be found in there as well,
Mhm. Mhm.
so
Yes.
that we relate to what we can relate to, right? If you're too far removed, um, we got to be able to latch on to this is a human being. I
Yes.
believe in, I
Mhm.
believe is honest, authentic. She has integrity and some flair and style, but that's
Yes.
not overpowering.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. You nailed it.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you for being with us today. This was a lot of fun. It's a really kind of a subject matter I hadn't really dove very much into on the Speak Pack show. So I'm glad we just kind of dove
Mhm.
in with those red bottom shoes together.
Love it. Love it. It was really indeed a pleasure. I sincerely appreciate it.
Well, everyone, look up as Chantal Thomas. You can
Mhm.
find her on LinkedIn. You can find her at the .com, but find her. She is a wealth of knowledge in branding, in marketing, and and also in her passion
Mhm.
of the customer experience
Mhm.
and inclusion and making sure that everybody feels heard, they feel seen, and they feel valued. So definitely look her up and connect. And I so appreciate you being with us today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. And for the Speak Packed audience, give Chantel and me
Mhm.
some flowers for sharing our wisdom with you today by just giving a like, sharing, posting it forward. Um, that not only goes a long way for you showing your generosity to share value with others, but it also goes a long way in just giving that appreciation to your hosts. So thank you for doing that for us. And in the meantime, we'll say ciao ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao for now. Oh, okay.